Hey all, Plastic Commander here. Say, did you hear that the Alaskan snow crab is on the verge of extinction after a mass extinction event brought upon him by climate change? This news is legitimately very terrifying to me, so I'm going to cope with it by talking about some plastic toy army men. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about a tube of figures that's really interesting, made by a company called Imperial Toys. Imperial's near and dear to my heart, as they made most of the toys of my childhood, so without further ado, let's jump right into it. So today we're going to be talking about a set of figures that is made by the company Imperial Toys. So Imperial has a very special place in my heart. And let me explain. If you ever went into Walmart between 95 to now, they always have had this one section in the toy aisle just dedicated to the cheap stuff. We're talking sleekies, we're talking cap guns, fake handcuffs, all of that good stuff. And more importantly, plastic army men are sold there, the cheapest ones they have. And that was where I got my army men my entire childhood. And for about 25 years, those army men were made by this company, Imperial. So, of course, their figures were knockoffs of Timmy figures. Now, I didn't grow up with any actual Timmy army men. I was just a little too young. By the time I was playing with army men as a kid, a lot of stores had quit selling Timmy figures, which was really sad, so I played with these. But still, nonetheless, I enjoyed these guys a lot because they were so cheap, you could have just so friggin' many of them. So, of course, we have the Timmy family here, or the knockoffs of them. Real quickly, I just want to look at one of them. You can tell the quality here is very much inferior to what Timmy's standard of quality was.
You cheap
What's really interesting to me is that throughout Timmy's run, especially when they were making these guys for 50 years, Timmy was the king of dime store army men, which means Timmy's figures have always been considered the cheapo army men of America up until the 80s and 90s, when they started getting knockoffs made in China of them, and those knockoffs were even cheaper, which made them way more popular. And then finally, in 2005, they went defunct. But nonetheless, even though companies like Imperial, and primarily Imperial, are the reason that Timmy went defunct, I was still real sad to hear that Imperial themselves went bankrupt just a couple of short years ago. And now Walmart gets their cheapo toys from a different producer or supplier called Cavemen, which they make knockoffs of the figures made by Sunny Days Entertainment, which are the new modern combat troops. I'll do a video on those in the future, but you've probably seen them before, or you probably owned some of them. But anywho, because I grew up on Imperial Army Men, so it was real sad to me. And I remember being a kid, you used to go in, and they had a big variety of just specifically plastic army men, and the variety kind of dwindled down over the years. Like, back in the day, they used to sell them in bags, not in the cardboard back with, you know, plastic casing on it like they do now. They were actually in bags, which I think bags are always better. You know, that's just me. And they had variety. You could buy a set that had jets. You could buy a set that had tanks. There were multiple different kinds of jets and helicopters. You could kind of mix match. Like, well, today I'm going to the Walmart. I'm going to pick up one with some tanks because I want more tanks. And call me crazy, but Walmart used to sell Cowboys and Indians and knockoff Timmy cavemen and dinosaurs. Call me crazy, but I swear they did in the early 2000s. If any of you remember getting some of those from Walmart, let me know, because I've been going crazy, because I swear I remember getting Cowboys and Indians from Walmart. But anywho, on to the actual figures. We have the Timmy family here, so sing the song with me. We got the laying down while shooting guy. We got the guy who's kneeling and shooting. We got the guy with the machine gun providing suppressing fire. We got the guy crawling. We got the guy who's pretending to be shot, although he was actually a guy supposed to be throwing a grenade, but his arm broke when they replaced the mold with an open palm, so now the original figure with the grenade is actually worth just a tad bit of money if you have it. We got the bazooka man, the sergeant. We got the guy about to bayonet someone, or crawling through a river, holding his gun up to keep it from getting wet, because we all know how bad the M16 was when it was released first in the Vietnam War. We had the guy on the phone, the mortar man, and funnily enough, the minesweeper decided to show his stupid face to this battle. Like, what's the minesweeper going to accomplish here? Just, whoa, 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 whoa. Oh, yeah, that's real effective, minesweeper Dan. Yeah, just minesweep them to death. Yeah, you know cavemen are really notorious for leaving IEDs everywhere. Stupid. He should have been left out. I would prefer a rifleman over a minesweeper in this instant. But anywho, onto the cavemen side of things, because we all know Timmy. We don't need to go over their figures. But what's really interesting is that when I got into this set of figures, and now I didn't own these specifically as a kid, these came out in the 2010s when I was a teenager and I just didn't care about Army Men anymore. Yeah, I know. Imagine not caring about Army Men as a teenager. Ridiculous, right? I was playing with Legos. But anyway, but what's really shocking to me is that the cavemen are original sculpts. All of these are original by Imperial, so I almost want to tip my helmet to them for actually putting a little bit of effort and elbow grease into this project. So we're going to look at these cavemen one by one and talk about them and get a good look at them. So first up, we have a guy who's just super pissed off. Like, look how mad this guy is. I don't know how well the camera... There we go. Yeah, look at him. Just freaking mad, dude. Just so mad. And he looks like he's holding an O-ring to a toilet. Like, he's going to bash someone over the head with it, or he's putting it on his head like a tiara. But he's wearing his loincloth, and one of the real interesting things is that these are really decently sculpted for how cheap they are. I believe these tubes retailed at around $5 to $8, which you get 100 of them, roughly 45 of each, which is 90. So for that price, it's really not that bad. And with how decent these cavemen are, really, it truthfully isn't that bad. These are really decent figures. And of course, we got this guy with a spear who's not nearly as bad as that last fellow. This guy is definitely about to boil over here in a second. And again, pretty decently sculpted. Interestingly enough, this guy looks like he has a haircut and a shave, so I guess the modern caveman. Another fun thing to point out is that the cavemen are slightly shorter than the army men, which, you know, is pretty accurate if you think about it, because I'm pretty sure these are supposed to be Neanderthals against Homo sapiens. That would make the most sense. And Neanderthals were slightly shorter. Now that I think about it, if anything, this is a very cleverly disguised allegory for American intervention in the Middle East. I mean, think about it. One superpower that's technologically superior in every way, and honestly what could be argued as centuries ahead of the latter, and one faction who's literally using sticks and stones to defend themselves. You know, hats off to you, Imperial. That's a very clever political allegory that you're making. So, then this one's probably my favorite. We have this guy who looks like he's about to bash someone over the head with a rock, equally as mad. And on his shoulder, he has a little bird friend there. I don't know if you can make him out, which is a really nice detail. In all honesty, if there's anyone who I want to watch me commit a murder, it's my pet. Yeah, look at this guy. He is just absolutely not having it. These greens showed up to his turf, and he's going to bash each one over the head with this very, very sophisticated smite club. Honestly, that doesn't look like something a caveman would make. It's actually really decent. It looks like it's from the medieval era, if anything. And then, of course, we have to have some light, and to shed light on the subject is this guy right here who kind of looks a little bit like Fred Flintstone. He's wearing a longer, more tunic instead of the loincloth like the others. Just trotting his way along. The bases for these figures are actually kind of sucky. I don't know if you noticed, but these have been falling over a lot. And finally, we have this gentleman here who is also just super mad. He looks like he's about to crawl up on someone and bash them over the head while they're sitting down or taking a leak or something. Although, might not be so smart to scream as loud as you can when you're about to bash someone over the head from behind. You may alert them. But anywho, Cavemen versus Armymen. Imperial made a variety of these in all different shapes and sizes and figures. I'm going to cover them in future episodes, but I thought it'd be fun to just look at this one for today. So, Armymen, Cavemen. Who do you think would win? Probably the Armymen, but it's fun to imagine. So, there you have it, guys. Who do you think would win? Some Armymen are a bunch of baby boomers. The world may never know. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Just so you guys now know, I have a Discord. So if you want to go join our Discord, the link is in the YouTube description. And if you have trouble with that link, it's also on my Reddit page, The Plastic Commander, where we also have our subreddit, Plastic Toy Dudes, where we talk about plastic toy Armymen on there, and I post a lot of stuff there. So come on aboard if you have Reddit. Make sure to follow me there. I would also like to give a thank you to the General Mo, the king of YouTube Armymen himself. Helped me out a lot through his own Discord, which you should definitely go join. And I would just like to give a thank you for him for all the help and advice he gave me when I was setting up. So, again, thank you guys. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'm the Plastic Commander.
Mission accomplished. Well done, man. Pack it up. We're going home.